Welcome to CrystonDaily, aka Cryston Photography. This is the first step into something that I'm kind of trying to put together. God, there's so much to talk about. I had to relocate everything. New setup, piece of the old setup. It's actually not even ready yet. I have so much more that I need to put together in order to kind of get things going in the way that I want. But at the same time, I wanted to really kind of seriously put out something that would be kind of fun, interesting to listen to, and maybe give you guys some pretty cool interests. So I'm just going to go into whatever it is that's on my mind. I got my notes right here. As you can see, I am trying my best to be professional in the photography game, so I try to be professional in this sense as well. There's so much that you have to remember to do just to even get a session going correctly. And that's what's so interesting about it to me, and so kind of funny, is I can see why so many people prefer to just kind of go into larger companies and larger organizations, because it's a lot to remember. Like, just the booking of the appointments alone is a lot. Say you're just kind of reaching out and you're trying to find clients, but you have no leads. Well, now you have to hunt down leads, and you have to go and shake some hands. You got to go hang out in certain spaces. You got to send flyers. You got to advertise. You got to do all of this stuff for the very small return of people coming out and being like, okay, yeah, I'll give you a shot. I'll give you a chance. That's why a lot of people will go to photography companies, kind of like ones that I work for, so they can learn that skill set, or so they can meet some people, or so they can build their own clientele list before launching. And on top of that, there is that sense of, oh man, I really got to go and find something and make something happen. I want to say that's a tough skill set. And then you have to know how to take pictures, and then you have to know how to edit pictures, and then you have to know how to create prints, or you can farm it out and then you're paying a little bit. It's just a lot. And, marketing, promotion, creating website, creating social media presence, it's something that we all kind of like navigate our way through. It took me forever to really be able to get a setup where I can kind of communicate in the fashion that I prefer to communicate in, which is like this. So CrystonDaily is going to be sort of this long form video style podcast thing. I'm thinking a lot of pop culture references, a lot of meditations about peaceful world, peaceful environment, things like that. And seeing if I can do this in a way that's as interesting and as clean and as fun as possible for you guys, while at the same time maybe doing something that's a little bit fun for me in the same vein, keeping the whole world cinematic in that fashion. I guess I can talk a little bit about myself, because I really want to talk about Naruto. And I know I've been talking a lot about it, but I'm doing my Naruto reread, and I've gotten to the fourth great ninja war, which is such an interesting thing. I just love the way that they do it. When I'm gonna get into it, but I had this revelation a couple of days ago, where if Naruto was a book series, it's really 3 books. You have the first book, which is everything before the time skip, introduction of the world. Naruto goes up through the Chunin exams, and eventually he has to go off with Jiraiya. And, they get into all these adventures, and there's a lot of great climaxes and fantastic creations. It's fire. Then you have book 2, which is Shippuden, after the time skip. The shinobi world of Konoha operating on their own. and them really laying out who the overarching villain is going to be. That's the second book. Up until they meet other ninjas, they make alliances, we get past that whole arc of the Akatsuki hunting the different shinobi so they can get the tailed beast. Like once the Akatsuki does their thing, that's basically the end of the second book. It has a great conclusion, and next up, this thing. And the reason I'm saying that the third book is a great ninja war is just because of how it's structured. You know what I mean? It's just because of how it's structured. It's got a very in-depth arc. You have the introductions, you have the build-up, you have the tragic sense. And I know it's kind of like, almost like it's just a huge third act at the same time, but you kind of get what I'm saying. It's a good 3-part breakdown. So I feel like I've just started the third book, and I'm already having a lot of fun with it. There's so many cool moments, and God, I got a lot into Naruto real quick. And I was just gonna like say, hey, in just a moment we're gonna talk about Naruto. It's funny how that works, you know. Life is such a fantastic thing that we spend so long wondering about the next thing that we're never really centralized in ourselves, in the moment, in the presence of ourselves, in the presence of the environment that we live in. I've started taking walks again because of how illuminating they can be when you put the mind in motion, because the body is the brain and the brain is the body, in the sense that the central nervous system, if you want to get technical, that links the brain and sends out the signals, is linked all throughout the body and into our hands and arms, our shoulders. So us turning and us moving, it creates that activity that also exercises the mind. That's why you do a good workout, your stress and anxiety level just shrinks, it dissipates, it goes away, and they're connected is what I'm trying to say. So I used to take a ton of walks. I used to work in a corporate environment, and I would always walk around the building 2 or 3 times a day. Well, for a couple of reasons. One, because it was just so fucking cold in those buildings. It was so cold. It was absurdly cold. Like, I couldn't believe that that's the standard. And it may just be something in the South because it gets so hot in the summer. Our AC gets cranked up super, super high. Or maybe because we have so many computers and we have probably servers and stuff inside the buildings that they can't risk all that pricey equipment being overheated. So I understand that. But it was cold. So I used to go on walks to warm up, but also to clear my mind of distractions. And distractions come in so many ways. It's so easy to have the intent to do something. Hold on, I'm going to fix something real quick. That's better. I got to keep my ambiance right, you know. Like I may show you guys. I may take a little quick video of some stuff that's kind of going on in the interior. So I used to take walks to clear my mind, and it had been so long. I've been on the move so much lately with going to different gigs, going to different photo shoots, video shoots, small things that I haven't really had much contemplative time other than when I was running. So now I got the new kind of semi-studio situation going on. It's not quite complete. I got my acoustic panels over there that I need to kind of put up around here and around there because I'm sure that there's going to be some echo right now, even though I'm right up on the mic. But when I move over here and I start doing some streaming, which I think I'm gonna start, I guess today, I'll do some Twitch something. I don't know what I'm gonna do on Twitch. I really want to do some reaction style videos. I just don't quite know how to work that out yet. All that said, that's been probably the most beneficial for me because it truly helps me to kind of focusing in on the task at hand, my intention surrounding said task, what's cool, what's not cool, to me, what's important, what's not important, again, to me. Unloading the outside forces and the outside programming. It's a form of meditation. It's movement. It's wonderful and it's glorious. And we are getting a little bit of cold out here, even though it doesn't get super cold. So it's going to be very brisk soon. And that's kind of what the point of all of it is to untangle and to like re-clarify what the goal is. I got something that I really want to put together. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm going to try, because in that pursuit, I gained the skill set of pursuing, of going after very long form goals that take years, that take months, stretching my sense of concentration and changing the satisfaction of the completion of the project to the doing of the project. And that's kind of what I'm trying to focus on. And we all know this. We have the knowledge of what it means to truly be accomplished and to be accomplishing. We know this. The battle is not in the knowledge, it's in the action. It's the discipline. And it's something we all struggle with. There are certain things that are triggers and antithesis to what keeps me disciplined. So trying to find out what those are, stamp them out, and hopefully push myself towards the positive pursuits, towards the consistent direction toward the goal I'm wanting to do. And I'm getting a little bit abstract, I know. You know what's funny? The small talk is kind of funny because we don't have an opposite to it. There's no like big talk. Hold on. I'm gonna switch. There we go. All right. There's no opposite of small talk. We don't have anything that we call big talk. It's just talk. You ever hate being in an elevator and you can just feel the other person is itching to say something and you really just don't feel like talking? Maybe you're just exhausted. Maybe this is your first time getting away. Maybe you just woke up, but you can just see in their eyes that they're just having that fantastic morning, and you feel bad because you want to be like, oh, you're such a nice guy, let me engage. But then you're just like, do not fucking engage with me because I'm not feeling it. That's what small talk can be sometimes. And then sometimes it can be a joy when you kind of click with somebody randomly. Because when you get those opportunities to meet with somebody about some such or something, all of a sudden it's like you have little potential friends here and there throughout your world. So in truth, small talk is really like all things about perspective. Do you view it as a burden, or do you view it as a opportunity or a delight? I mean, I guess we could say the same thing for most things, and that's why some people are able to kind of have real discipline, because they delight in the process. They delight in the small talk, the chores, the things that have to be done. And yet we're never like, oh, I can't wait to do them. But inside the action of doing it, you get into that meditation. I get like that sometimes when I'm doing dishes. I had stopped putting on anything, sometimes to distract myself. I would have a movie playing or whatever back in the day, but now I'm just washing. And I find myself getting very kind of like zen when I do that. I find myself just kind of the same thing that happens when I take walks. I just find my mind clearing. I kind of like go over the things that are happening inside my brain, like pages in a book. Okay, yeah, I did this with that person. Okay, I need to remember to do this. Oh, I've been avoiding doing that. Then I have the opportunity to make choices, because now everything is clear, because I've gotten rid of the fog of distraction. I've gotten rid of the fog of hesitation, of looking in the past, the fog of worrying about the future. Because, I mean, that's truly what all our issues kind of stem from. It's the choice between anxiety or depression or peace. To put it very simply, to me, depression is an obsession of the past, where you can't let it go, you can't break off from it. You feel that trauma. And so that's where a lot of it kind of stems from. And anxiety, a lot of times, is worrying about what could be, like the future. You know what I mean? Like philosophically speaking. And so by focusing on the present, that's how you're truly able to be at peace, because the past is a memory and the future doesn't exist. And you have your head down because you're like, oh, this, or you're looking around, what's next? And you're missing all of, don't focus on the finger, you miss all this heavenly glory. There is truth in the now, and there's beauty, and there's peace, and there's joy, and there's freedom in what's occurring at this moment. And that, more than anything, really excites me about daily life, if you know what I mean. Okay, I'm going to jump topics. I'm gonna totally kind of like push this like just like a nice fun podcast thing. I have some stuff written down, which might be really, really good. Let me go ahead and get into this one. I think this one will be fun. Confidence is a vial filled from impressive accomplishments, internally created or externally received. Internal accomplishment fuel burns slow, lasts for years, but it's much harder to mine. External burns bright, fast, and it's everywhere. The choice of permanence, though, is up to the student. I like that a lot. Just another way to look at external motivation versus internal motivation. And I think that's why we crave so much just stuff. Oh, I got to read. Oh, I got to watch this show. I got to watch this TikTok. I got to watch. I think it's a lot of the times has to do with the fact that we're trying to feel this sense of confidence or self-acclamation, self-assuredness, centered. We want to be centered. We want to be at peace. We want to feel good about ourselves. So I'm on record as saying that a lot of the Marvel films are essentially morality plays. I think this is true for all fiction, maybe even a lot of nonfiction as well. But to kind of give you guys like a recap of what I mean, morality plays. Think about Greek tragedy, Greek mythology. Think about all mythology, where even Grimm fairy tales, where it's like, these are lessons. Here's kind of how you should behave in these situations. You go in this dark woods, expect scary creatures, so make sure you don't do anything unnecessary. Be prepared. Don't be tricked. And the stories are never literal. They're never like a boy walked into the woods and he lost his compass, and then he looked around, and then all of a sudden, he ate a poison mushroom, and then he gets poisoned. Like, it's not like that. There's a big bad wolf, and he dresses like your grandmother, and he tricks you and all this stuff. But it's really the danger of the woods is the danger of the unknown. That things can be deceptively safe, but in truth, they're very dangerous. And that teaches you a moral, teaches you a lesson. It's a morality play. And that need for mythology doesn't quite go away as we get older. So you go to different forms of media, and the characters are archetypes of the what could be. They're archetypes of potential versions of ourselves. So, for example, each Marvel character is a version of a type of person that exists in real life. There is the Bruce Banner character, super nerdy, awkward, difficult, and then when he loses his temper, he's explosive, he's irrational, breaking things, destroying things. There are people that are like that. Then there's the Tony Starks, where they're just really clever, really smarmy, and just kind of like really self-centered and a little bit narcissistic, and but really brilliant, but also self-destructive in a different way. There's people like that. And so in all of the Marvel movies, we should see a version of a character that's kind of similar to who we are. They're going to be amplified. They're going to be elevated. They're going to be very intense versions of us. But they exist, and they speak to very basic truths. There's something like 15, 25, 30 versions, maybe only about 12 versions of characters. And some characters are like, different slight variations of the same version. But, there's the brooding, isolated type like Wolverine. There's the one who is just trying to be the strongest like Thor. And it shows what they look like at their worst. Self-indulgence for each of the types creates different types of problems. But when they're at their best, when they're selfless, when they're sharing, when they're giving, when they're protective, it shows an example of that personality at its best. And so now the whole Marvel universe can be an allegory for us, for what we can do, for what we should be. And that's what's so brilliant about it. So, yeah, like, I think all fiction is like that. I think Naruto's like that. I think Gossip Girl is like that. I think Yellowstone is like that. Archetypes, morality plays, and In a lot of ways, I think sports is like that, but the actual games themselves, that's where the fantasy meets reality. And you get that punch in the mouth, and sometimes you can be at your best and still lose. And that's another good lesson. I think that way of kind of like looking at things, it's everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm trying to see if I have any other like crazy opinions, because I wanted to record like just some kind of fun long form thing, play around with it, see what we can make this, how we can make this as fun as possible without being kind of like crazy or ridiculous. What if Cobra Kai was like a real world like fan fiction about Ken and Ryu coming back to create schools after they had their falling out at the end of Street Fighter 2. Like, you know, like Sensei, that was not Danny Sensei, that was Sensei Lawrence's sensei is Akuma. He even kind of looks like him. And the kids are their students, you know, so there's like the younger characters from the different Street Fighter video games and shows, or maybe even the kids from rival schools, which seems even better, even though they all go to the same school. And then you got Joey Lawrence in like the red, the kind of the red with the blonde hair like Ken, or maybe it's black and red like Ken, you know, depending on the variation. And then you have Danny LaRusso, who is like the more trained, more sensible martial artist, very passionate and peaceful. And then they eventually have to come together in this universe, being like so conflicting against Akuma and a few other villains that snake their way into their universe. Yeah, that would be pretty funny if that's what the show was actually based on. I'm trying to prep for Halloween. Halloween is probably an event, a videographer and photographer's dream. I'm kind of at that point where I want things to kind of progress, and I want to do some new, like fun, radical, cool video stuff. So I'm doing some video work for this one company, and I'm going to get some great video footage of people out and about during Halloween night. I'll make sure that the video footage is going to be fun. I might get a second Loom Cube just to kind of be on the safe side, and I'll be ready to go. I'm really excited about it. There's nothing I love more than taking video of events, festivals, because it shows something different about ourselves. Whenever you go to a festival, you're going because you're excited. So immediately, everybody at the location is passionate in some form or fashion. Maybe they're passionate about, if it's a music festival, the music. Maybe if it's a convention, they love anime, they love cartoons, they love comic books, or one of the book conventions. If it's a car show, everyone there loves cars, muscle cars and craftsmanship and things like that. And in my opinion, that's what I love to video the most. I did some video work for club out here in Dallas, and I found that I liked doing that better than the photography work. I think that creates something incredible that tends not to be utilized in the same way that the photography is. What am I getting at? I'm getting at the fact that for Halloween, I'm really going to be out looking for the most fun moments at parties, out and about in the streets. I'm going to go to as many things as possible and just get the footage. Because that's really the long and short of it. It's trying to film something and put it together. You know what it's like to take photos and take videos outside. There's something kind of magical about it, kind of perfect about it, because the world is an imperfect place. And perfection is really only found in these moments. When it was warm and the sun just kind of like dropped warmth down into like the park area, to the fields, to the lakes, ponds, creeks, and a sunrise rode the horizon like ascending a roller coaster. When you can get the subject right there, right at that perfect place, and the light kisses atop their head right at the perfect angle, in the perfect way, in the perfect manner, and they're enjoying the moment and smiling and having fun, and then you can just take the picture. There's nothing better than that, because photography is an experience for everybody. It's an interactive art when you're creating it in the beginning, because you're interacting with the subject. So if I'm working with a model, or I'm working with a team, or even I'm taking pictures of like a family, it's interactive. You know, I always try and speak to the language of the client, because that's the best way we can kind of connect. Working with me should be fun, and it should be engaging, and it should be very, very peaceful. I love taking photos outside more than anything. That's my favorite thing to do. Outdoor portraits, outdoor video. And I just need more excuses to kind of get out there and take more. So I'm using some interesting equipment right now, and I want to try a few more things now that my setup is kind of like this, where things should be a lot more streamlined for me. Things should be a lot more ready to go for me. And I think that's my biggest photography thing, is the setup is going to really allow me to connect in a way that I haven't truly been able to in the past. So connecting with the client is as important as connecting with the self and whatever my vision is. I have a very specific idea of what I want to see. I have a very specific notion of what looks good, what I prefer versus what I avoid, and on and on. I love a more natural aesthetic. I love a more natural expression. I love playing a little bit with the lighting, and I love kind of really, really connecting. We're so stiff in our lives. We're so stiff. Everybody is so stiff and tense. All of the fussing people have to do, the venting people have to do. I don't get it. Why vent when you could go get your picture taken and have a great afternoon? Why fuss and complain when you could go and experience the joy of the afternoon and the music of the morning? Midday relaxation. It makes me a little bit sad, because I know that it's very difficult to get into a position where you can just enjoy the peacefulness and the calming nature of your day, because a lot of times you don't have the luxury. And so that's kind of what I'm getting at, is photography is a luxury. It's a luxury experience. It's an experience that shows you who you are at your best. Right in your face. You'll get the pictures back and you'll see yourself as you see yourself in your dreams. And that's the goal. You know, we all should live slightly dreamy lives. We all should be having a ton of fun. Some stuff that you guys should know about me is that I like soft things. I like relaxing environments. I like peaceful situations. I like meditation. I like walking. I like a certain aesthetic. There is a time span of this almost like new vintage that is just become another standard, like a standard filter. You go into Urban Outfitters and they have Polaroid cameras that you can buy, and this kind of cool late 90s, early 2000s like vintage tech that kind of brings about this fun aesthetic. And that's what I enjoy, and it's kind of cool that it exists all around. And I feel that if you set your world that way, you can have everything that you want all the time. You really can. All you have to do is decide what you want. In order to decide what you want, you have to know who you are. In order to decide what you want, you have to know who you are. I said it twice because it's that important. Know thyself. Understand who you are, because that's what will give you the actual direction you should take in your life, and not what someone else tells you. Because as much as they love and care about you, they're thinking about the world from their own perspective. So you're never going to see exactly eye to eye, but you do learn to accept other people as they are. So if you're willing to do that for others, then you need to do that for yourself. Who are you? What do you actually want? And then determine how to become the best version of you so that you can get those things. And enjoy it. Enjoy the process. The same way that I enjoy taking pictures, the same way that I enjoy taking video. I hope I get a chance to kind of show a little bit of behind the scenes of kind of how I work with taking pictures. I've been really kind of getting into shooting with the Sony outdoors for photography, and then really pushing that portrait aesthetic. But I really want to do some fun stuff with video as well, just because, you know, why not? I don't want to talk anymore, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to see what this looks like, just because I'm kind of itching. I'm kind of excited to see. I'm really happy that you guys stopped in and checked out my new setup. I don't know how these clips are going to come out, but I thank you very much for indulging me a little bit. My name is Cryston, and I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer, and I'm a little bit of a scoundrel. So I appreciate any love and support that you guys show me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you love photography, if you love talks about Naruto, if you just like really interesting things on your screen, if you guys like cinema or whatever, then follow me. I got some stuff cooking up. It's going to be a good time. I have my new setup, which is still kind of like underworks. Backdrop, still working on it. Gonna get some cool stuff. I'm gonna do some stuff with some streams, some live videos, and a few other fun things. So stick with me. Thanks again, and love, peace, and hair grease.